Hey, Husker fans, this is the Showdown with Sam McKewon. We are coming to you this week. This will be a shorter version, just me, talking to Husker Extra subscribers about everything that's going on this week with Husker sports. There's quite a bit going on. We will return to the normal Showdown format next week with Dirk Chatlin. Dirk and I will debate all kinds of stuff with Nebraska football and Nebraska basketball. It should be an interesting conversation. Let's get to this particular week. Well, the big news, obviously, on the radar is the Nebraska softball team. They've already gone down to the Stillwater Regional. We're recording this on a Thursday. They're going to play their first game on Friday, 5 p.m. against North Texas. Nebraska will be favored in that game. They should be able to win that game, and then they will have to try to find a way to beat Oklahoma State twice. Remember, it's a double elimination in the tournament, so they're going to have to find a way probably to beat OSU 2 different times in Stillwater on their home field in front of a ruckus crowd. If they're able to do that, they'll likely advance then to a super regional, probably against Clemson, who is the number 10 national overall seed. Oklahoma State is number 7. We'll see what happens. Nebraska is going to have to pitch really, really well. Softball is a pitching sport. The best teams pitch really, really well. They're low scoring. Anybody who watched the Big Ten tournament game saw that too with Nebraska's wins over Penn State and Michigan. They're low scoring affairs. And so you're not going to necessarily get your 12 or 15 runs the way Nebraska was against Rutgers or Iowa. They're not probably going to run rule anybody. It's probably going to be a pitching affair. Nebraska's going to have to get really, really good pitching from Olivia Farrell and Courtney Wallace, and then they're going to have to get timely hitting, just like they got in the Big Ten tournament, against teams that are just about as good as Oklahoma State. So we'll see if Nebraska's able to advance. I give them a chance, right? They've got a shot. They're going to have to pitch really, really well, and they're going to have to get timely hitting. On another front, Nebraska football, big recruiting weekend for the Huskers. Okay, so they have a transfer coming in from Texas, Marcus Washington. Now, Husker fans may remember him. He took a bunch of visits to Nebraska in 2017, 2018. He was part of that group of players from St. Louis that Mike Riley, former coach Mike Riley, was really tied to and probably would have landed if Riley didn't get fired, but of course he did. Washington instead went to Texas, played 3 seasons there. Modest career. He had a pretty decent season last year for the Longhorns, caught a lot of passes from Casey Thompson, and now he's going to be looking to transfer somewhere. Nebraska's going to be one of those destinations. He will be up here this weekend. Won't surprise me at all if Nebraska's able to land him. Now, Marcus Washington is going to be a guy that sort of lands at that X spot outside, kind of where Xavier Betts was going to be. Xavier obviously left the football team because he doesn't have much interest in playing football anymore. Marcus Washington would be an interesting addition to the wide receiver core there. They've got high school guys coming this weekend who are really, really good. Caden Green, offensive tackle from Lee Summit North. Jaden Doss, a receiver from Raymore Peculiar High School in the Kansas City area. And then Dylan Edwards, who is 5'9", 165-pound running back from Derby, Kansas. Very electric player. Kind of reminds you a little bit of an Amir Abdullah. A lot of people compare him to Darren Sproles because, of course, he's in Kansas. I would say that Edwards is a really interesting recruit because he's a guy that kind of wants to play college football with Doss, who is in Kansas City. And if those two guys were to make their decisions together, Nebraska may have a chance. Edwards has been considered kind of an Oklahoma lean up until now, but here's the thing. Doss doesn't have an offer from Oklahoma, and so they both have offers from Nebraska. They both have offers from K-State. I think it's going to be kind of a local battle, and we'll see what happens. Edwards is a really, really interesting player. I don't know that any of these 3 guys are going to make their decision this weekend, but I think Nebraska is going to put a pretty good foot forward. And special teams coordinator Bill Bush, which recruits Kansas City and the Kansas area, has done a really good job of getting these guys in. Finally, Nebraska baseball. They're fighting for their, their Big Ten tourney lives this weekend, right? So they need to win 3 games this weekend against Michigan State, and they're probably in, right? And the reason they're probably in is because Purdue is ahead of them, and Purdue has to lose at least 2 games. If Purdue loses at least 2 games to Maryland, who is at the top of the league and is fighting to win an outright Big Ten championship in the regular season, if Purdue loses 2 and Nebraska wins 3, Nebraska goes as the 8th seed to the Big Ten tournament. If Nebraska wins 2 and Purdue loses all 3, the same scenario will be true. If Nebraska only wins 1, they're out. If Purdue only loses 1, Nebraska's out too. So we'll see what happens. Nebraska's got to basically sweep, or otherwise it's going to be, I would argue, the most disappointing of all the sports teams at Nebraska this year. Even a little bit more disappointing than the basketball team because Nebraska baseball won the Big Ten last season. If they don't make the Big Ten tournament this season in Omaha, like 3 miles from here, not even 3 miles, a mile from here, man, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good at all. And so we'll see if Nebraska baseball is able to kind of pull something out of a hat, because that's kind of what they're going to have to do here in order to make the Big Ten tournament. If they do, obviously, Husker Extra will have full coverage of that. We want you to subscribe, right? It's important. We've got the app. It's very customizable. You can follow all those sports this weekend. We hope that the Husker Extra subscribers also take advantage of the text service that we have exclusively through Husker Extra. All right, we will be back next week with Dirk Chatwin on the Showdown with Sam McKewon. We'll have lots of good discussions about Nebraska football. Thanks, Husker fans.